What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing Ravens content every single day. If you want to stay updated with Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. I apologize. I struggled to get videos out over the weekend because I had family in town and I was just out of town on some days and it was hectic, but I got no visitors coming for the next couple of weeks, so don't worry. The content should be out daily, and I will be getting with Joshua to work on setting back up the routine of being able to record multiple episodes all at one time. So if you guys want to listen to them in full lengths on podcast platforms, it'll actually be out early on podcast platforms to hear our takes for things like that. But, if you just want to see them on YouTube, they will be out there as well. So next week, hopefully that'll get started up. We'll probably be able to put out a Super Bowl recap video or something like that. And then also Mock Draft Monday will be starting up. So, make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you guys, want to see that type of stuff. And check out the TikTok, check out the Twitter, all that stuff. Sorry for all the plugs. But let's get into today's video. Now, this is looking back at the Eric Decosta Press Conference that happened last Friday. Talked about a lot of things. I talked about the Marcus Peters comments that he made earlier. Make sure to go check that out if you want to. I apologize again with another plug. I'm no more plugs this video, okay? I promise there will not be another one. Let's just talk about the Eric Decosta press conference. And I'm going to talk about the wide receiver position because he did make some comments on it because a lot of Ravens fans have been talking about, maybe the Ravens should trade for Michael Thomas. Maybe the Ravens should go after Allen Robinson. It was a major point of last offseason, right? Who are the Ravens going to get? Whether it was Kenny Golladay or Allen Robinson or Juju Smith-Schuster. There were a lot of names that were being thrown around because Ravens needed wide receivers. Julio Jones, another one. And they ended up not going with any. They went with Sammy Watkins. They ended up drafting Rashad Bateman. And, whether or not that was the right selection, I think it was. I think that Rashad Bateman was the right choice. I would rather have Rashad Bateman than any of the guys I mentioned earlier. Now, Sammy Watkins, in terms of him coming back, I don't think he will. I think he'll probably go somewhere else. But, overall, if we're looking at the Baltimore Ravens receiving core right now, it's Marquise Brown, it's Rashad Bateman, it's Devin Duvernay. Those are the three main guys. Then we got Prochet, we got Tylan Wallace, technically Miles Boykin, and then a couple of other guys that the Ravens could bring in practice squad guys and things like that. Obviously, the Ravens will definitely make some sort of addition to replace Sammy Watkins, but it'll probably just be something like really late. They're not going to go out and spend a lot of money. Okay, so sorry, Ravens fans, we are not getting. I think Juju's actually a free agent this year because he signed the 1-year deal with Pittsburgh. We're not getting him. We're not getting, Allen Robinson. We're not getting anybody like that. Because Eric Decosta said that, hey, the Ravens are set at wide receiver. They're not expecting to make any sort of big move, any drastic move, no high-profile pick, no masterful trades to bring anybody to Baltimore. That's not in the cards because they feel confident in the guys that they have. And I'm not disappointed in that statement. I would agree with that statement. I think the Ravens are set at wide receiver. Now, could they get better at wide receiver? Absolutely. That just because you're set does not mean it's perfect, right? The Ravens do not have the best wide receiver core in the NFL, but do they need the best? I don't think so. So if you look at their wide receivers, they've got some good players. Marquise Hollywood Brown. I think if he was a number 2 wide receiver, he'd be one of the best number 2 wide receivers in the NFL. Right? Rashad Bateman, excellent rookie season. Now, he missed a couple of games, so he wasn't able to have the great stats of other guys, of their rookies that dominated. But Rashad Bateman, 500 yards receiving, I think that's pretty good. He only had 1 touchdown. He technically had 2, but for some reason, the Cleveland touchdown didn't count, which makes no sense. He definitely scored on that. But overall, very good rookie season. Could very well become the number 1 wide receiver for this team. Devin Duvernay, very, very good wide receiver. He just hasn't been able to get a lot of opportunities due to other players. And due to the Ravens just not throwing the ball a ton and not going into 3 wide receiver sets nearly as much as other teams. Then James Prochet, absolutely incredible. I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, he posted a workout video, maybe on Instagram as well, but I saw it on Twitter of him running hills and things like that. This dude is working. And we saw it, coming into training camp last year. He significantly improved, and everybody recognized it. Played a great game, and for some reason got pulled out for some reason. Still don't really understand the end of season James Prochet decisions that went on with the Baltimore Ravens, but overall, like, they're set there. Now, I'm not excluding the possibility that the Ravens go out and draft a 5th round guy, right? A late 4th round pick on a wide receiver. That's possible. The Ravens are a best player available type of organization. If they see someone they really like, they're going to go after him. But I think that this shows that their focus finally is not on wide receiver, because like the last couple of years, it's been wide receivers. That's been the draft, right? Hollywood Brown and Miles Boykin, James Prochet and Devin Duvernay, Rashad Bateman and Tylan Wallace. The Ravens are drafting wide receivers. You want to go a year before that even? Jaleel Scott and Jordan Lasley. Like, the Ravens have been drafting wide receivers, and it just hasn't stuck. But I think it's finally starting to stick, which means they can finally focus in other areas, because the Ravens actually excel when it comes to drafting defensive players. They really do. They've drafted so many great players. And Eric Decosta's drafted a lot of really good players. Justin Madubuike, 2nd round pick, phenomenal. Anthony Averitt. Now, Anthony Averitt, I'm not a huge fan of Anthony Averitt. I think a lot of people on this channel know. But for a 3rd round pick, very good pick. Very good draft pick. He was put in an unfortunate situation, having to become the number 1 cornerback on a team when he wasn't ready for that. But he's a very good player, especially for his pick, like, and how young his career is, how short his career has been so far. Like, very good draft pick. Deshaun Elliott, very good draft pick. The Ravens can draft defense. Drafting wide receivers, they struggle with. And I don't think any Ravens fan is going to tell you otherwise. Now, they may, but Ravens receivers, they struggle with drafting them. So this means the Ravens can actually focus on drafting what they're good at drafting. And what are they good at drafting? The positions that they actually need. Because if you look at it, there's a good chance the Ravens need a tight end this offseason. To be the number 3 behind Nick Boyle and Mark Andrews. Ravens are great at drafting tight ends. Now, they could keep Josh Oliver. Would not fault the Ravens for that at all. The Ravens need O-linemen. They're pretty good at drafting O-linemen relatively early. 5th round O-lineman, it's tough to hit on a 5th round O-lineman. But, 1st round, they've been phenomenal. 3rd round, they've been pretty good. So I think that's a pretty good pick spot. They don't really need a running back. And then defensively, probably going to need a corner, probably going to need some pass rushers. And while it may seem like, oh, wow, the Ravens never have a pass rush, they can't draft pass rushers, the Ravens can actually draft pass rushers. They just can't use them a lot of times. And now we have a new defensive coordinator that could potentially change the way that the Ravens draft their edge rushers and things like that. But they've actually been very good at doing that. They just haven't been able to utilize them properly, and hopefully Mike McDonald is able to do that. But I think that this is a big thing, that the Ravens have moved on from this quest for the holy grail wide receiver. Now, did they draft Jerry Rice? I love Rashad Bateman. He's not Jerry Rice. Nobody's Jerry Rice. But can he be a number 1 wide receiver, a number 1 Pro Bowl wide receiver? Yes, absolutely he can. Can Hollywood be a Pro Bowl wide receiver? I think so. He was on pace to make the Pro Bowl, and then Lamar got hurt. And then it was like, oh, well, Tyler Huntley and Hollywood have like the worst chemistry a quarterback and wide receiver I've ever seen. Like, it's horrendous. Like, they just can't connect. But him and Lamar can. Like, that's a Pro Bowl duo right there. So I think this is really big for these comments. The Ravens don't need any new wide receivers. Eric Decosta said it. I've said it. So I'm very happy with it. Let me know what you guys think. Is there anything else you want me to talk about in regards to Eric Decosta's press conference and things like that? Let me know. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content, and I'll see all of you again tomorrow. And as promised, I didn't finish out with any more plugs, so shout out to that. See you then.